Hello, Medipreneurs. Very excited today to be talking with George Zorich. George, we're excited to have you and really glad that you're going to be joining us for Medipreneurs 2019. Um, Welcome, and we'd love to hear the
Thank you,
story.
Michelle.
You're welcome. We'd love to hear the story. What led you to an entrepreneurial type of practice?
Well, I thought all the way back, it started back in college where the professors tended to box people into a couple of specific routes.
Yeah.
And in this case, my jurisprudence professor, Doc Hamill, put out little file cards and said, where do you plan to work after graduation? Are you going to work in retail pharmacy, hospital, or go to graduate school?
Oh,
And 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 actually, I didn't want to do any of those. I wanted to go into sales for Eli Lilly and Company, which of course isn't very entrepreneurial at that time, but I thought that was something I wanted to do. Lilly hired 95% pharmacists. That
yeah.
was their business model. And I wanted to do that. So when he read the results in front of the classroom, I was a little bit shocked and dismayed when he singled me out and said, why would anyone waste a pharmacy degree by going to work in sales for Eli Lilly and Company? And right at that point, I thought, and it stuck with me my whole life, it was pharmacy can do anything with that degree. That degree is a springboard to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Why would our faculty limit all these opportunities and great opportunities for any student and simply box us in with just limited options? So that was the impetus for everything really that followed.
Wow. Isn't it interesting how sometimes one statement from somebody can really shape our future? It just kind
You
of,
know, it
uh-huh.
really is. And I think we've always been a little bit short-sighted on the opportunities for pharmacists.
Mhm.
I really truly think there's unlimited potential with this, and with MTM and other options currently available to pharmacy.
Yeah.
I just see so many opportunities for pharmacists, both younger and older, to hang a shingle and develop some sort of business and really be out on their own, and also take some risk management out of their careers. I would not want to rely on a big box retail career 10 or 20 years from now. So I think if I'm feeling that and I see, the market, I think at a higher level than the average graduate, why would we not at least prepare these students to go out on their own and really try and get them more creative, more problem solving, more entrepreneurial? I don't think it hurts, put it that way.
Certainly doesn't hurt. I just heard kind of a shocking revelation, I think 2 days ago, that one of the large chain pharmacies has announced to pharmacists across the board that no more raises, no more bonuses, cut in hours, some cuts in benefits. So it's happening. It's happening now.
No, definitely. I think that's the future. And if I was running a big box retail pharmacy, a big chain, I would be doing the same thing. I would be going to state boards of pharmacy and trying to get the pharmacy to technician ratio changed
Hmm.
from whatever it is in an individual state to 10 to 1, or 5 to 1, or 4 to 1. And I would have more lower priced technicians doing what's needed. With robotics and artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
I think it's inevitable that we're just not going to need as many pharmacists in a dispensing role. Where the pharmacist will be needed is solving healthcare problems.
Right.
And if we're smart, we'll start getting students prepared for that type of life. They'll benefit society. If not, there will be a lot of unhappy pharmacists in 10 or 20 years, really, in essence, in the unemployment line.
And I think ACPE has obviously noticed that, and they've asked the entrepreneurial education be part of the curriculum. And you, at last year at the Medipreneur Summit, you contributed so much. You were an attendee, but your experience and your knowledge contributed so much. And that's why we're thrilled to have you come as a speaker this year, in particular, to address that matter of ACPE and the
Mhm.
kind of the requirements for entrepreneurial education, but your vision of how schools can take advantage of this opportunity. So love to hear what you're planning.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. We were able to start a entrepreneurship type of class and pilot it back in spring of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was on the board of the School of Pharmacy, the Dean's Advisory Board, uh, one thing became clear. ACP was going to mandate this. We didn't really have textbooks or tools
Mm-hmm.
to help out the faculty and the students. So I turned to our dean at that point and said, I'll write the letter. Why don't you send it to the deans of the top 25 schools of pharmacy and ask them a simple question? In your faculty, when you think of all of your faculty and you think of entrepreneur, who do you think of? We want that name. We want to interview. So we took and we ended up with 32 names.
Mm-hmm.
We pared it down to about 20. We interviewed those, picked the best 10 stories. That was half of the book. And that's about entrepreneurs in very deep dive in each life of the entrepreneur. The other half was about leaders in pharmacy that took non-traditional roles. And we thought that was important because those non-traditional roles were that example I gave earlier of not big box retail, hospital, or graduate school.
Yeah.
What are all the other things you can do? Well, there are 32 examples in part 2 of the book about all those kind of profiles. And that individual wrote about a 3 or 4 pager describing their trek, their path
Yeah.
to that kind of career. And I think it's really exciting because all of them then give tips for the graduate on how to navigate post-graduation and their tips for success. So I wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
We worked with the dean, Steve Swanson, and then some of the faculty. Beth Martin stepped up and really has done a phenomenal job. And we worked to put together an entrepreneurship type of class. And I decided also, let's have a Shark Tank competition as part of it. And we'll award 2 scholarships and fund those with royalties from the book. So I pledged 100% of the royalties from the book to Shark Tank kinds of things. And I think we learned so much in 2018, and we have a spring session going on right now. And I think we're just learning a lot and on what I'll call a 2-year pilot program of how to do this.
Yeah.
So I think I'd like to share that with your audience and at Metapreneurs this year. And I think it could be valuable to some of the faculty from these schools to come in and let's just have a discussion about it. How best to get these students prepared for being entrepreneurs in life.
Exactly. And you mentioned something earlier. They're not going to learn this from a book. And so you bring such entrepreneurial experience, the real life stuff of what it takes to get there. It's invaluable. We've invited all of the schools of pharmacy, and we'll be sharing this video, this interview with them as well, to encourage them to come and have this opportunity to talk with you. It's going to be a workshop. They're going to have a chance to really learn some specific skills, correct?
Yes, and really what we've learned and what we think we need to learn in the future about how to set something like this up. If they want to have a Shark Tank kind of competition, I think it's optional. Mm-hmm. By the way, if any of the people listening or whoever you send this to in the faculties across across the 153 schools of pharmacy, if they want to see what the University of Wisconsin put together as a write-up subsequent to the class in the Shark Tank competition, they could contact me at georgezorich@gmail.com. I can send it to them. Or if you can find a way of uploading that in some way to the Metapreneurs website,
I'll do that. I'll include it in
there.
Mm-hmm. I'll do that. Thank you. I'll make sure that everybody can get it.
Okay.
Excellent. Well,
do you have any other questions?
Well, I would like just for you to tell people, so many people have talked about how the Medipreneur Summit was different than other pharmacy seminars and conferences that they've attended. What was your take on it? In what way might it have been different?
What I thought was really nice was, number one, I thought it was put together extremely well. And the coursework and the seminars were, I think, were pretty insightful. And I sat through a bunch of them. You had different tracks there, so I kind of jumped around and bounced around. And but I liked the energy from the people in the audience. And the reason I say that is I think there are all sorts of people out there that are interested in how could I set up something, or I might want to do this with this business idea I had a few years ago or I have now, and how could I navigate that?
Mm-hmm.
And we really never do learn that in pharmacy school.
No.
And we really don't necessarily learn it getting an MBA either. And I thought this was a good way of getting so much interaction between both your Metapreneurs founders, your staff, and all the participants. There was such good interaction between everyone. And I think that's the real value add of the program.
I appreciate that.
And I thought being in Asheville was nice too, just because this year I plan to go from there to Pinehurst and golf a little bit. So I love that part of the country, and I just think it's a beautiful area in late April.
Absolutely. You're right. The timing and the place are quite nice.
Yeah.
Well, George, I thank you so much. We can't wait to have you join us and to see you in April. And again, faculty and academicians out there, George is going to offer something absolutely amazing to help you as you're working to not just meet ACPE requirements, but to create something that's really meaningful and valuable for your students.
I'm looking forward to it, Michelle. I hope to see a lot of people out there from schools of pharmacy.
That would be great. Thanks a lot, George. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks a lot. Bye.